Hello there, BookTube. My name is Daniel. Welcome back to my channel, Guilty Feet. I never knew you, you never knew me. Say hello, good. I've got no rhythm. Today I'm going to do a short video and give you 5 solid reasons why you do not ever need to read the Booker shortlist. And I'm going to give you a list of 5 books that all made the Booker shortlist that are utterly forgettable and mostly forgotten. First of all, I want to get the elephant in the room out the way, and by elephant I mean mammoth, and by mammoth I mean ducks. Bloody Ducks, Bloody Newburyport was shortlisted for the Booker Prize, and kind of killed Booker for me for a while. I read all 6 shortlisted books the year this was on the shortlist, and this was the book that did for me. But I'm not even including this on this 5 forgotten works because I remember this and it drives me crazy. But there was another book on that same shortlist which really was not enjoyable, and I thought I would mention it here because it's a forgotten shortlisted book. You're never going to go back and find this. No one's going to read this moving forwards, but at the time it was shortlisted and felt important. And another reason why you don't ever need to read the Booker shortlist, and that is An Orchestra of Minorities by Chigozie Obioma. This was misery porn. It made A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara look like a fairground ride. It was just long, and I stayed up all night. It's about 500 pages. How many pages? 500 pages. I think I stayed up late into the night, maybe till 3-4 o'clock in the morning, to read the last 400 pages because I got to the point, I saw what was happening. I knew that I could not put this down and pick it up another time because it was so sad and just deeply depressing and therefore a little anxiety inducing. An Orchestra of Minorities, a forgotten book. I don't think anyone's going to pick this up. Actually, Obioma, I believe this is his 2nd time on the Booker shortlist. His first book was also shortlisted, so 2 books, both times shortlisted, and I don't think widely read, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. The other books I've got here are books that were all shortlisted and just mostly forgotten. I don't think significant works by significant authors, and I don't mean to be cruel or harsh to these authors. I think it's a great achievement to publish a book and a great achievement to get shortlisted. This is meant for you to save anybody who's feeling guilty for not reading every book on the shortlist, because that seems to be a thing to do now. You don't have to do it, because in 2018, if you had read every book on the shortlist, as I did that year, you would have read The Long Take by Robin Robertson, published by Picador Poetry, because this is a kind of long form prose poetry thing that left very little impression on me. But I read it. It was on the shortlist. You don't have to. Another book, this is going back, I think, to 2007. This was a book that was on the shortlist by, I guess, an author from New Zealand. Yeah, there was quite a bit of buzz around this book. I don't know if anyone's still reading it. I don't think this is a particularly top-tier author, but this was shortlisted. This is Mr. Pip by Lloyd Jones. I remember my wife read this as well, and she quite liked it, but I found it a little lightweight and wasn't a great read. But I have seen this in paperback, so I don't know if it may still be in print and be more beloved than I'm giving it credit for. But it's an example for me of a book that was shortlisted and is a perfect example of why you don't need to read the shortlist. Mr. Pip by Lloyd Jones. Have you read it? Did you read it when it was on the shortlist, or have you ever come across it since? Let me know. Then going back, I think a little earlier, maybe not so early. I know this is a little after that. So that's 2007. This one, I got one from 2011, one from 2012. So first up is Jamrach's Menagerie, I don't remember, by Carol Birch. And I bought this. I think I bought this even when it was longlisted, and then it made the shortlist. In those days, this is long before my time on BookTube, I would often look at the long list. I was always a fan of Booker going back to the early 80s. I've been sort of following the prizes, and occasionally when lists would come out, I would read it in The Guardian. I didn't wait for the announcement like I have done the last couple of years, and BookTube's influenced me that I know what date the announcement is coming out, and I sit there and I look and I refresh and wait for the news. I don't think I did that so much, but if I saw an article in The Guardian that said this is on the long list, I might have picked up a couple of books on the long list, and this is one of them. And I remember this fairly fondly. This was sort of the interesting modern novel, 1857. Geoffrey Brown is running along a street in London's East End when he comes face to face with an escaped circus animal. Yeah, I have these okay memories of it, but again, it didn't touch the walls going down. Jamrach's Menagerie by Carol Birch. I haven't heard much about her since. I think that she's published. This is by Canongate. Yeah, whatever. Didn't need to read it. It was on the shortlist. And the last one I've got is probably, I think, remember even more fondly. This is Narcopolis by Jeet Thiel, which is blurbed on the back by Harry Kunzru and Alan Warner. And this, I bought this in 2012, which I guess is when it was shortlisted. And this was set in India and set in an opium den, and there was funky stuff going on there. And that was a book that I read once that was on the Booker shortlist, and you probably won't, and you don't need to. And that are my 5 compelling reasons why you do not need to read the Booker shortlist, because there are books on there which don't necessarily have any long-term literary significance. There are books published every year. I have nothing but awe and respect for someone who gets a book published, but you don't have to read every book on every shortlist. I read some of these. They were okay. Thanks, bye.